Good morning. Today's manna is a follow-up from last week, and I had shared that we should follow that first thought, that inner intuition, that gut feeling, whatever it is that you want to call it. And I wanted to share what happened last week to affirm this. Romans 8:14 tells us that as many as are children of God are led by the Spirit of God. So the Spirit of God is always leading us. It's always guiding us, always directing us. And last week, my son had therapy on Tuesday. And normally I just drop him off and I wait for him. But it was cold. And then I was thinking in the morning, I said, man, it's really cold. It was below zero at the time, plus the wind chill was below zero. And I said, you know what? Maybe I'll go somewhere and have a cup of coffee. And then when he's done, I just come back and get him, around the corner. And as I kept thinking throughout the day, something told me to go in. And I had to get some blood work anyway. So I said, well, I'll do that. But my first intuition was not to stay, to go inside and be with him. So I went, I dropped him off. He went to his clinic, and then I went and parked. And then I went to get some blood work done, which is on the 4th floor. He was on the 2nd floor. So long story short, I went, got my blood work done. And after I got my blood work done, I was waiting for him outside, and I texted him. I said, I'm outside your clinic. I'm on my phone, and I'll be here. No sooner do I text that, right? And some people, right? Some technicians run out of the clinic, and then they run into this room and they get the stretcher. First thought, it's for D. And then my religious conscience kicked in and said, I rebuke that. That's not going to happen. It's not him. But I remember the manna, and I started thinking, wait a minute, I just had this manna about going with your first intuition, that gut instinct. And it stuck with me. It's for D. So I started praying. And then all of a sudden, some other people rushed in there. And mind you, there's other people taking therapy, and it's also an x-ray clinic as well on the other side. And so it could have been for anyone. But my first intuition, that it was for D. At that moment, when some other people came out, I heard that the ER people were there as well. And I was convinced that it was D. Then all of a sudden, I saw this person looking around the room. And I said, they're looking for me. So I got up. And when I got up, she said, do you happen to be Dad's dad? And I said, yes, I am. I said, can you come with me? And she said, he's okay, but he kind of passed out a couple of times while doing therapy. So they had him on the stretcher, and then we hurried up and walked him over to the hospital part because it's connected, because we go to UIC. So we hurried up and walked him over on the back way. And I was just praying and praying for him that everything would be fine. And they did the EKG right away. They, all the vitals. They did a CAT scan of his brain. And long story short, it was just that he was, all his blood work, he didn't have a heart attack or anything because they even did the enzyme test. Everything came back negative. But I was in the waiting room waiting for him. And I said, God, if this was my first intuition, then it was for a reason. And you were preparing me. First, to be prepared that it was for him. And second, that you have me here for a reason. At that moment, there was a couple of moms with some little kids. One mom, there was 2 babies. They were both crying. People getting restless because they weren't be calling them. They were there sitting for a few hours. What usually happens in the ER. And I remember that I have Christ in me, the hope of glory. And I said, Lord, I have in me the fullness of your peace and calmness. At that moment, I prayed for peace and calmness. and peace and calm filled that room. Instantly, the baby stopped crying. I can feel the atmosphere change. And I'm not saying this for my glory, because I didn't stand up and put on a show. I just, right there, sitting. Because God knew what was getting ready to happen, and He used it together for His good. To help those single moms that no one else could. Those babies that were sick. And I want to encourage you that when you get that first gut feeling and intuition, don't just disregard it. Don't get religious, say, oh, that's, especially if it's negative. Pray, Lord, lead me, guide me. Your word says in Romans 8:14, that as many as are children of God are led by the Spirit of God. So Lord, every day you're leading us and guiding us. I pray that this manna this morning encourages you to follow that gut instinct, that first intuition, that first thought, whatever it may be, whatever you want to call it, goosebumps in your belly, whatever. Follow it. Pay attention. Enjoy the rest of your week.